Good morning, good afternoon, everyone. I hope we're having a great start to the day. We'll just give it another 10, 20 seconds to let a few more people in, but it's really awesome to have all of you with us. And we're really looking forward to today's discussion. All right, I think with that, we can just go ahead and get started. So, welcome everyone. I'm Ryan Powell, the head of innovation and media business at the International Press Institute. We are a global network of editors, journalists, and publishers committed to press freedom and independent journalism. We have two main areas of focus. Our press freedom team is monitoring and drawing attention to the physical, legal, digital threats facing journalism around the world, while our independent journalism support work seeks to provide solutions and opportunities in the face of pressures and challenges around the world. Our innovation team is sort of positioned to design and deliver programs that support new ideas and experimentation while doubling down on the fundamentals to ensure that independent media remain resilient to disruptions while also charting their own future. We provide infrastructure from funding, training, and advising media through accelerators to building community and peer networks of innovators to really support the industry. Much of these activities, as you can imagine, depend very much on community, sharing experiences, seeking inspiration from wherever is possible. And that's why we've developed this series of virtual newsroom visits. The idea is to create space for innovative, independent media projects to tell their story to an audience of media builders from around the world. It brings you an inside look into how your peer media, whether they're investigative newsrooms, collaborative projects, local newsrooms, national media, looking at how they're managed, how they grow, the technology they use, how they navigate crises, and what type of experiments that they're deploying and testing. In the past, we've visited newsrooms from India, Lebanon, South Africa, El Salvador, Pakistan, Norway, and many more. And really, I think the value add here is a chance to meet a wide spectrum of their team members that really offers different dimensions of how these media organizations are managed. Today, we're really privileged to be visiting CCIJ. This is the Center for Collaborative Investigative Journalism. CCIJ is a nonprofit organization leading global investigations with an added element of strategic mentorship. Their cross-border reporting incorporates investigative data and visual storytelling. And in their collaborative spirit, they are developing regional hubs that oversee local reporting and training with a current emphasis on Southern Africa and the United States. Some recent investigations that they worked on, and they can tell you a lot more about this, for example, the Nigerian presidential election in 2023, which we'll hear about today, the causes and consequences of a lack of access to clean water around the world, and the role of illegal logging, mining, and disinformation endangering southern Nigeria's rainforest. So, on this topic of innovation, though, we will be hearing about CCIJ's experiment developing a Fortnite game that turns investigative reporting into an interactive experience. And we have three of their team members here to take us through their journey. Nelly Kalu is CCIJ's editorial projects and products manager. Serena Stelitano is their metaverse and game designer. And Folayana is the communications and partnerships manager. On a quick housekeeping note, we will hear from them for the next 45 minutes. They'll present to us their project, its design, and then we will have around 20 minutes for a Q&A session. So ask anything related to how they developed the project, who they're reaching, and ultimately, you're welcome also to share your experience with a similar project. The presentation phase of the will be recorded, so you'll have that will be available to you afterwards. And if you have any questions, please just drop them into the Q&A chat, and we'll make sure to ask it either on your behalf or invite you to ask it yourself. So thank you all for being here. And Nelly, with that, I would love to hand it over to you. Thanks so much for being here.
Thank you, Ryan. Thank you. And thanks to everybody who's here. That's a great introduction. We appreciate it, Ryan. Also looking at the clock, let's go straight to it because I do want us to hear a lot more from Serena, who's built the game. I've started looking through the chat and I see where the interest lies. All right, so you already know what this is. You've seen us and Ryan has introduced us. I'll just give a little bit of a background to what we do at CCIJ so you can understand how the game is part of our editorial mission. We, of course, our editorial strategy is to look at every story that we do through an investigative lens, of course, but equally with data and visual storytelling. We look at them all through the same lens. How can this story be told through data, through visual, and how can we represent it in one long form report? Again, we are very interested in investigating urgent global issues. So if you're a journalist out there and you're looking for a platform to partner with, do send us a message, and Fola is the person who will handle that. We believe in amplifying underreported voices and give a capacity for journalists who want to build more skill sets to do that through us. And we spend most of the bulk of our work navigating collaboration between journalists and newsrooms, between newsrooms and between us and partners like IPI. And also part of our work is to spotlight emerging journalists and give them room to grow. This is where we publish most of our stories on Versa.news. You've met us, Serena, me, and Fola. So you'll excuse me to skip this one, right? This is a small video about the metaverse. It's something that we played at IMED when we were there in Greece. But because of time, I'll skip this. But if anybody wants access to this, we can definitely provide it. And we can explain what we mean if you need us to do that. Because that's not a video of just describing our metaverse, it's describe the metaverse in general, is describing how we use the metaverse. But this would also help. For us, our metaverse is an independent product. It is part of our multifaceted way of producing our journalism, and it is gradually beginning to build audience. It is also for us a shift towards evolving into innovation and experimentation. We are a very small team, but we're a very bold team. We're very interested in trying out as much as we can, not only to evolve in the journalism industry, but also to build what's possible for the future of journalism. So our metaverse, in conjunction with all the distribution strategies that we have, is a platform for us to do this. And we don't mind if we fail and try again, because in doing that, we have finally been able to do this, what we're about to talk to you with. We have evolved from different stages. We started with Shield Your Vote, which was our first foray into the gaming aspect of our metaverse. We had an AR game, which we were able to, another video forthcoming. Let me see if I can run past it. Oh, okay, you're lucky. So we built another game where we were able to test out to see if people have any interest in this. I'll do that too in a moment. So, but this exactly is a representation of what our metaverse means for us, and then what the metaverse means for the future of journalism. Now, it is what I consider an inevitable evolution, and I'm trying to sell you on it, so give me a few minutes to do that. It's really an inevitable evolution. Think about how far we've come from oral storytelling, and then there was mass media, and all the way we've come to AI. And there was a little bit of time when people played around VR, AR, and all of the metaverse idea. And we skipped right back again, to what we're familiar with, which was social media and all of that. But as learning and gaming and more ways of engaging people is existing on the metaverse, it's time for journalism to really consider that at some point, if you're not in this new alternate world, then there is just no way you can belong or have as much influence in this world, because a lot of people are beginning to find alternative ways to exist in different communities. So I'll just move on from that in a bit. Yep. So why do we need a game on Fortnite? Why did we do it in the first place? I'm going to go one step back because I feel like I missed something. All right. we did that because we had actually conquered this area of things, the multimedia, journalism, and social forums part. We were on social media, we've been doing quite a lot. We're still on our metaverse, we're building stuff, but we decided that we needed a little bit more engagement and involvement of our audiences after we had the investigation into Nigeria's 2023 presidential elections. Now, when we investigated these elections, we found out that the Democracy Deferred project, which is what we called it when we did it, had several chapters to it. You would find that on our website when you do Google it. We found that those elections are also, the elections were influenced by what's happening all around the world, especially as the world starts to get more authoritarian. We realized that there was disinformation that influenced the elections. There was suppression of people's votes, sometimes through violence and intimidation. There was the abuse of electoral and violation of electoral laws, and also the abuse and malfeasance around electoral tech. And sometimes all of these things lead to questioning the validity of an election, which therefore is the validity of democracy. And if people weren't taking part in an election, if they weren't taking part in the news around them, in the information about who leads them, it's also because they're not taking part in how the journalism is covered. And so when we did this, we thought about multiple ways in which we can introduce people to the story and get more engagement in. I like to use the word, we use modular journalism, but I've been warned that I love that word so much, but it means nothing in general. So I'll explain that what that means is we looked for different steps and formats in a strategic way and systematic way to touch every audience. So we were on TV, we were on radio, we were on social media, we had Twitter Spaces, everything that we did. However, we also have the metaverse, and we had an idea of gamers and people who interacted with the metaverse. The more interactive, the more energetic Serena displayed a story on the metaverse, the more people were interested in engaging it. So how do we get people who were not interested in listening to radio, watching TV, or even reading out long form stories? How do we get them to engage? That's how we came up to the idea. These are our multiple formats that I talked about. And it brought us to chapter 2, building Shield Your Vote. We started with this. It is really literally an AR game where we were trying to teach people how to protect their votes from all of those factors that affected the elections in Nigeria through Democracy Deferred investigation, of course. And this we deployed at a women conference in 2024, and it really was, it took off. People were very interested in it. And so that initiated more. This is Shield Your Vote. Let me see if I can control how you hear it from here. And this is just the building of it. It's not the actual game, but it's part of what Serena had to do to get us here. And then what happened with Shield Your Vote is that you scan this barcode. And when you do scan the barcode, you get into the game and you have to sort of find this fire and protect your ballots from, being destroyed. So this was all the depiction of it, of Shield Your Vote, several ways in how we did it on voxels, and of course the AR game that you've seen. And it inspired us to really take the entire story through this time wheel. And we're having more conversations now with more partners in how to build this exact time wheel that you're seeing and how to develop this connection that's here, that you find here. But what we started, this was some example of Shield Your Vote. And now we are here, the Data Vault Canyon, which is on Fortnite. I'm doing my best not to talk much about that because Serena is here in person today. In times when she isn't, I tend to do that. So, but now she's here, I won't. So if you were at IMED and you met us there, you'll be getting a totally different kind of presentation now. And it brings us to chapter 3, the game. I'll be passing on to Serena from here, but in a moment, I want to tell you that there was quite a lot of thought and inspiration as to how we get here and how we, decided that this would be the most engaging. We thought a lot about how to adopt a game or at least some engagement through gaming that people in areas where we have lists, internet connectivity, people who have to spend a lot more on data or, to access the kind of games or the metaverse, in fact, how do we reach to people who are interested in absorbing this in regions where they don't have the most internet exposure. And by that, I don't mean that they're not on the internet. I mean, accessing the internet is expensive, it's tough to get to, and sometimes holding them there for a long time is impossible because of these factors. And that's why we started with AR, something your phone and your data, connection on your internet can handle. And then here we are, looking through, of course, series of tests and questionnaires about who's interested in a game, what will the game look like, and how we will build that game. So having said that, I will pass this on to Serena.
I'm Serena Stellitano. I designed the game, the Data Canyon, with Nelly, Fola, and Geoma, and the CCIJ team at large. Our idea was to, as Nelly said, to allow for the story and especially the civic engagement we wanted to share with people, with players, allow people to access it from a different perspective. So I conducted a series of several reports and investigations, basically about where people go to enjoy themselves, but also how thirsty the market is for some interesting and reality-based content in gaming. And we decided to go for Fortnite building because, as you can see, it's based on Unreal Engine, which is probably the best one for game development. You have a lot of effects and you can manage a lot of the environment. And also now many features have been introduced because everything here is still in beta, but as you can see, it's already very developed. And physics are allowed, so you can build games based on many different level of engagement of the player, and based on different starts at a story level, storytelling level. So here you can see we have the classical setup of Fortnite. You have the map, and here you can see the meta-humans we selected and created for the game. As for now, we implemented just one meta-human that is the editor for the African team. And this is for the development. And here you can see a part of the UI and initial setting that we put together for the game. This is how we integrated basically the meta-humans inside the game. As for now, as I was saying, they're just static NPCs, and we have the voiceover of the editor guiding the player on around the canyon and explaining for each fragment which is triggered, explaining what malfeasance and data corruption is like, and everything here was a metaphor, is a metaphor for what we experienced, what our reporters, our data scientists experienced during the democracy deferred investigation. And so we wanted both to have a very visual and interactive layer added to the investigation, but also something that as I was saying, was accessible to different types of people, digital explorers and youngsters, but also there's a growing female and non-binary people that are playing games because also we are in the era of user-created content. So there's many new creators of games, and the content is really exploding at a storytelling content level. So yeah, here you can see the final atmosphere we created for the game. As you can see, there's this very thick fog that is the visual element that connects what we created in augmented reality and in voxels as a virtual reality exhibitions. Here is our MetaHuman, how we started from AI-generated voice, and we added the animation through the Unreal Engine tool. And this is a further development we want to add to the actual game. Is something that we are still working on, and Fortnite is still integrating in the platform. This is the starting page where you can on Fortnite select the game and you can understand what to play. This is the final effect of the explosion that prompt the player inside the canyon. And from here in the game, you can open the map and pin the editor and find it inside the Data Vault canyon. Here you can see a bit of gameplay, some devices we added for people to explore and interact with the environment. As for now, we got 8 to 10 different fragments, but we plan to add more, and also to have events where we drop selected new fragment with, of course, the connected audio cue to players in the event, so special editions style. One of the things that we want to implement is also to give the possibility to players to decide their roles and to be the enemy. This is something that was the feedback from the latest IMED conference. And so we are building also that line of gameplay where people can perhaps enter the game and corrupt these data fragments and hide them for the reporter to find and collect.
Other tactic, cooptation. Promises of reward for silence. A seat at the table if you stop asking questions.
Hear a bit of the editor speaking to the player. And now we are going to the final choice that we give. Here people enter in another container in this data vault where the newsroom was hidden, finds some documents that have been redacted and scrapped.
You decide.
And here he has to decide to seal the data or release the data to the public, and this will give them back a victory choice, and also not in this version but as well very soon the Visa token, which is our token of appreciation for investigative journalists, which is a little token reward inside the game. So this is us. Of course, this is just one of 6 different levels we designed, and we are building at different levels of complexity right now for Fortnite. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you, Serena. So there is actually a video which we're trying to play for you, but I will play that. If it's just a 5-minute video, I hope that's okay, Ryan. It's to show you how to play it. Because we had expected to share this from Serena's end, I didn't put the video first. That's why you saw me sliding back, but I will just show you this. Part of the story, I think, is what many people kept asking us, is how do we get the story in for the Data Vault Canyon? How do you get that from an investigative piece that you've already done? Well, first of all, you need to imagine and put yourself, as Serena said, in the place of the person who is, put yourself in the place of the narrative that you want to tell. So as much as this is a version of gamifying investigations, it is not exactly gamifying it in the way we know, where we have quizzes or Wordle or stuff like that around the story, but it's basically animating off of the inspiration of that investigation. So this is strictly just on the data investigation. If you remember, I said earlier that CCIJ uses data, visual, and narratives, and this is strictly off of the data investigation. A journalist looking to gather data to prove what happened during the election, and there you go. So this is the narrative that we're able to come up with. You can, and from IMED, which was the last conference where we showed this game in full, people said they want more tension in the narrative. They want to be able to be the bad guy or the good guy. They want to be attacked more. And so that's part of the reason why we're working through funding. I would love to stop sharing this one, if it's okay, Ryan, and play the video. And then we can start taking questions that will probably address these slides instead of just talking a little bit more.
Where voices drown in likes and shares. Suppression and violence all around. And the flood of fake posts on social media. Even hidden, our newsroom was struck. The vault shattered, fragments scattered through the canyon. Each fragment carries a piece of the truth. Follow the signal, and we can put it back together. Even the messengers were targeted. They wanted fear to silence the press, not just the facts. The core of the vault survived, but the data is fractured, files corrupted, logs scrambled. Some fragments still hold the truth. Collect them and the story can be restored. Still, the official reports claim everything went smoothly. This is why fragments matter. They hold what the reports erase. Timestamps were altered, logs out of sync. Someone wanted this moment delayed, maybe erased. This fragment shows the other tactic, cooptation. Promises of reward for silence. A seat at the table if you stop asking questions. What is happening? Here it is, a spike. A flood of identical messages across accounts. It looks organic, but it's not. Here's the trail of erasure, files deleted, drives wiped. Someone tried to scrub the record clean. You decide. We can lock the data, keep it hidden. They'll reward you, offer you power, perhaps even the minister's seat. Or release it. Risk everything to let the truth out, including your life. Well done. You chose transparency over silence. That decision comes with a cost, but also with recognition. This is the CCIJ, a token of appreciation for investigative journalists. It marks you as someone who did not look away.
Okay, thanks for sitting through that. But what I was trying to show you, that's Serena playing the game herself. And oh my goodness, totally forgot all about that. So that's Serena playing the game herself and trying to see, it's amusing though that Serena had a crisis of conscience, whether to steal the data and make money or not. But anyway, that is just a prototype, and it's just a very, very little sign of what we are hoping to do. That was also done without any investment financially, other than just within CCIJ. The script is a lot more spelt out and intense than what you've seen. With the script, we had more non-player characters, a lot more of things that were, coming at the journalists that they have to avoid, hence the running, but you can't see them there. The data which the journalists passed through were supposed to, of course, translate into more of attention. The more data they found, they were supposed there will be, not supposed to, but there will be barriers and conflict as they go from data to data. And the editor's voice will guide them just a little less, just on the areas where they face that particular conundrum, or they face certain challenges and how to navigate the struggles, just like an editor will do in real life. Only come in when you need them to, and when you're done, to guide you through the process. So the aspect of storytelling on its own, where it was rather the easier part, if I would say. It's the investment that we needed to do to build it according to the storytelling. But now that's the work that we're doing now in the future, is what we actually invested in. We're investing in building, we're investing in funding, we're investing in partnering, so that we can take this prototype that you've seen, and it really is just a prototype, to see what's possible with the story and build the full level. And when we've built this full data level, we intend to go around the entire time wheel. So the journalism of it, I've tried not to emphasize a lot more here. We can talk to you about audience and how we plan to promote this when we've done the building. That would, of course, depend on the questions that you have. But so far, this is what it looks like when we say that we have a game on Fortnite, and this is what it looks like when we say that we've translated our investigation into gaming. And there's a lot more we can tell you, but of course it depends on your questions, so that we give room for a conversation. Right?
Thank you so much, Nelly. So I guess, yeah, we can leave the next 20 minutes to question and answers, if that works for you.